Near mint condition, the home of collected editions.
That cover's so awesome.
Absolute format is the best way to own this store. Time to empty those wallets and fill those shelves. Hey, all you minties, Uncanny Omar here from Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions, and join me today for your overview of the exclusive black box slipcase set from Magnetic Press. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, before going any further, I do want to thank the folks at Magnetic Press for sending us an advanced copy of the Black Box Chronicles. Man, this looks wicked. And yes, this does come sealed in plastic, and it's got these cardboard corners right there, so in case they're shipping these out from Kickstarter and there's any kind of throwing around of your package, the corners don't get any kind of dents. Now, let's go ahead and get it out of its plastic. And taking this out, and these just come right off. I mean, they're snugly fit in there. It's almost like they're made to order. And your ISBN is down here on that piece of plastic that just rightly fell on the book itself. And here's your other one. All right, now that we've got that out of the plastic, we're going to go ahead and take a closer look at this. Okay, now that we've got it out of its shrink wrap and the little corner boxes here, so make sure it was okay. This kind of reminds me of the old school Trapper Keepers, but it does have a magnetic strip. You can't see it, but that's really cool. I love that. It kind of reminds me of the Gem and the Holograms Trapper Keeper design that came to her first deluxe edition from IDW. But the two books are in here. We're going to take a closer look at those here in a second, but this is what it looks like internally. So even internally, there is a pattern, and I love that about slipcases. When it's not just blank, but there's an actual like pattern that you would probably find inside of a spaceship, hypothetically speaking, of course. The bottom here, and then the top, very sturdy, has like a soft finish to it, and not sure if you can tell, but it does have this foil blue stamps everywhere. It's not embossed, but it's around the book. And then right here you have the Horrible Future and the Magnetic Press logo there, which I'm sure most of us would probably keep on the bookshelf like this. Now, the books themselves, you have this amazing image from David Mack right here with the spaceship outline and that young lady's face. The corners, of course, have these rounded corners because they are Magnetic Press books. And the foil stamp up here for the black box logo, Mark Shea and Chris Northrop. And then the spine of the book, Mark Shea, Chris Northrop, and Black Box Chronicles, the Magnetic Press logo down there, the Horrible Future logo down there, and the Magnetic Press logo there. Now, this does have a retail price of $29.99, but this can only be purchased through the Kickstarter link, which I will leave in the description of the video. And this one here is a price of $24.99, and you can still get the slipcase through the link, but I think once they're gone, they're gone. The softcover edition of this, I think put together with this, is available through retailers though. And the book, this is the source book right here. The design space does have a foil stamp right there, and then of course in the black box logo. And again, let's see what they look like together, because you do have the option of purchasing the books separately. They don't have to be inside of the slipcase. And then the back of this design space. So you have the ISBN, Magnetic Press, and Horrible Future. All right, let's go ahead and crack these books open and talk about what exactly is this, in case you didn't get to watch my interview with the creators behind this particular project. Okay, let's go ahead and crack this book open. I love the end sheets. Space. You gotta love it. Okay, so the premise or the pitch for this series is exactly what it suggests. The Black Box Chronicles. It's 15 different stories. It's an anthology of this interconnected space world, if you will. There is an introduction here by Mike Kennedy, who I had the pleasure of interviewing, who kind of helped put this book together. Horrible Futures, Magnetic Press, and the recovered data. So this is pretty much your table of contents and where you're going to find each of the stories, as well as the credits. So most of these stories, if not all of them, are written by Mark Shea and Chris Northrop. And then you do have some that are written by Taki Soma or M. Sean McManus. You're going to see some names in here that, not just if you're familiar with the world of magnetic press publishing, but some of these folks have had stuff published through magnetic press. This one here is 172 pages and features the main storylines. But you have people in here like Michael Avon Oming. Here's your introduction. And the introduction isn't like, welcome to this world. This is how we got started with this project. It is pretty much like, in the future, man will travel to space. And in space, there's also going to be accidents because everything comes to an end. I know that sounds really morbid, but that's the way this kind of works. That at the end of the day, all of us will end up dying. And what will remain will be our memories. And of course, that's where the black boxes come in. Because in air travel nowadays, I'm sure most of you are familiar, the black boxes are the recorders of the aircrafts. In case something happens, that's what people go and listen to the last few minutes or the last hours of what ended up happening on a specific flight. Well, in this not so distant, yet distant future, it's very vague about that, it starts off with a scavenger that is collecting these black boxes from different aircrafts. Now, these aircrafts are a lot different because we are talking about the future and we are talking about the exploration of space. And even though you are reading about the end of some of these people or some of these androids or some of these beings' lives, you forget about it because this anthology does such a good job of just throwing you into the middle of a story. I'm skipping some pages, by the way, and getting you hooked on these characters that you get to know for just a little while. There's a story in here about clones that really hit me. So, I mean, the styles are very different, from cyberpunk to things that obviously were inspired by anime or manga, or maybe even things like The Matrix and Blade Runner, which is why I went with cyberpunk. I didn't want to say Bubblegum Crisis, but there is a story in here that I'm like, ooh, that one kind of reminds me of Pris and the Replicants from Bubblegum Crisis, which I know, of course, borrowed heavily from Blade Runner, even in names and all. But there are some really unique twists and turns in these particular stories. I love the world building because, like I said, you forget that they're so interconnected, but they kind of remind you from time to time how interconnected it is. Some of the art looks a little abstract. I think I flipped a little bit through some. Just the angles. Oh, I love that. Kind of reminds me of the Aeon Flux Liquid Television era. This story right here. This one was one of my favorites. But I don't want to spoil that. And it does come full circle at the end. When you see, well, I'm sure you saw the scavenger getting beat up by a bunch of punks. And they end up stealing the boxes. And he's like, no, no. You have no idea. Don't open those boxes, you fools. And then we go on to the first story. Now, each story is titled here. To Error is Human, for example, is the very first story. It tells you who it's written by, who it's illustrated by, and who it's colored by. And every single one of these starts off like that. Here we go. So you have Toro Terada, who of course has done some stuff for Magnetic Press. Now, Taki Soma, I think Taki did work on Bitch Planet, if I'm not mistaken. And the stories in here will vary, I think, PG to PG-13, mainly due to the violence and stuff. Nothing over the top, nothing gratuitous. Now, the story, or this particular book, ends, and you have the creative team right here telling you a bio on each of these creators, and where you can follow them. You don't really see that on bios a lot, but where you can follow them on Instagram. So y'all better get that Instagram. Now, let's look at the build of this book. 172 pages. It is sewn binding. We do have a flat spine, and the book is printed in this really thick, glossy paper. And let's look at the design space. Now, this one's a lot different. While the main story with no extras is in the first hardcover, this is pretty much exactly what it states. This is a 96-page book of the supplemental material. It's not just artwork, though. There's paintings in here and uh, like pretty much like articles about this particular world, and it helps with the world building. And I think I want to say this feels like it's an RPG. I think it is an RPG, tabletop RPG. My old school days, I still think of RPGs as JRPGs from the days of Dragon Warrior. Yes, I said Dragon Warrior, not Dragon Quest. I'm that old. But yes, you get the concept designs of. I absolutely love this stuff. So this stuff is included in the trade paperback version again. It's just I think both books are put together for that particular version, and that version actually has a different cover. It's not the cover that is included with this book right here. Now, this supplemental stuff, this one is exclusive to the Kickstarter, so you can only get it through the Kickstarter. The main book, that's 172 pages, that one is what the softcover retail copy is. And that retail copy does have a brand new cover, too. While the David Mack cover is exclusive to the hardcovers. So this is the kind of stuff you're going to be seeing through here. The different droids, the different spaceships, the different creatures. The detailed information about the cryo sled. This is interesting, like how much it weighs and the length of each of those. The harvester. And they all come from different stories. But because the world is so interconnected, you're going to see a lot of these pieces or a lot of these spaceships or a lot of the droids throughout each and every one of these particular stories. And most of this is written by Mark Shea and Chris Northrop, but the artwork is by Shane Molina. That's what you're going to be seeing through here. This one, like I said, is only 96 pages. It can be bought separately. Oh, and I forgot to mention this stuff here. Stuff in the back, the rendering, fantastic, which leads to the cover. And your end sheet, which is different than the end sheet here at the beginning. This one also is sewn binding with really thick glossy paper stock through here. And it's perfect image so you can see what the spread pages look like. But that, as they say, is that. Now, if you're interested in purchasing the softcover version of the book, please don't forget to check out our sponsors.
If you're in Europe and you're interested in buying these books, definitely check out Walt's Comic Shop in Berlin, Germany. They have the cheapest pre-order prices, flat shipping rate of €12 for all EU countries, emails answered within 24 hours, waltscomicshop.com, and you can use the code nearmintcondition at checkout and get free shipping for all EU countries with your first order over €40. That's Walt's Comic Shop, your reliable source for omnis and premium collected editions in Europe. Ding!
CheapGraphicNovels.com, your online home for graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They have excellent shipping and prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And don't forget that CGN also takes pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on the hottest releases. And they are currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If you're a first-time customer, after receiving your order confirmation email, reply back to that email and let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way. They will then apply a free shipping promotional credit to your next order in the US. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. And that was the content, the page count, and build of this slipcase edition. Let me know in the comments down below if you never heard of this, or if you watched my interview and it piqued your interest and you ended up getting it. But if you have read it, let me know what you think of this particular anthology. If you have any questions, leave them down below. Don't forget to smash that like button. Everyone, stay healthy and safe out there. Much love.